Boys, we are live.
No, we are
Again,
not.
I'm in Bakersfield, Paul in Jacksonville, and Jason across the river, Coach in Omaha. And so we are here. We're going to talk a little Nebraska-Iowa football today. We're going to preview the game, give you our takes, and we're just going to have a little fun with it. Paul, you want to do our Cincy message real quick?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. But can I confirm, Jason, are you behind enemy lines right now? Is that what's going on? Do you need a rescue?
I will.
Do you need a Black Ops rescue mission? Do we need to send in the Navy SEALs?
Honestly, where I'm at though, which is really funny, is this is like my neighborhood has so many Hawkeye flags up. Like we do have a lot of Nebraska flags, but we have so many Hawkeye flags as well. You know,
Nice.
and everybody knows them. Like no matter what, you see the Hawkeye flag or the Hawkeye hat or something, you're like, hey, right? You see the Nebraska flag, you just keep on driving. You know, but everybody else, you're like, no, it's Omaha is. There's a lot. Like it's divided. Obviously, it's probably 70% or so Husker because there's a lot of Creighton fans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and other schools throughout the country who just happen to move here as well. But yeah, there's a lot of Hawkeye fans, especially in my neighborhood. We even have somebody's house that's yellow. So,
so for us to kick off today's show, you know, tomorrow is Thanksgiving and your house is going to smell amazing, right? Because you're going to have the turkey and the stuffing and the mashed potatoes and the gravy and all of those amazing scents flowing throughout your home. Well, that's only going to happen for tomorrow and maybe a couple of days after if you enjoy some leftovers. What do you do in the meantime, right? Because you want your house to continue to have that amazing holiday smell, that fresh scent, that the holidays are here and it's that joyful time in our lives. And what better way to do that than with Scentsy Scents? Dean's there holding up a beautiful Christmas warmer or holiday warmer, as it were. It just happens to be a tree with lights. That gifts typically might be placed under, but that is a great example of the unique and beautiful features that of the Scentsy warmers that you can get. We've got sports ones, we've got holiday ones, there's Disney ones. There's so many different varieties, and there's something for everyone, male, female, undefined. You know. If you want your house to look great, smell great, feel like home, you get that scent that you walk in and you know you're home. Check out the link here on our screen, Scensy's Terry page, the Tarek.Scentsy.us. Copy the link, put it in your browser, check it out. Make sure you also like and subscribe to our page here on YouTube. Check out our Facebook pages as well, the Iowa Hawkeye Sports and everything Iowa Sports pages. A lot of great content on there. So we're excited to get started. This is fun, guys. I love doing these midweek kind of off-schedule videos. This is fun for me, man. I love it. This is my favorite time of year. This really is. You know, we've got football, we've got the basketball, mixed in. There's wrestling going on. There's just so much going on this coming Friday. This is what we're here to talk about. Nebraska, Iowa, the Big Ten West Championship is on the line for the Hawkeyes. We got Iowa Clemson basketball that night. Team USA soccer. I'm in overload, and I've got Thanksgiving meal tomorrow.
You'll need a nap for sure.
All right, guys. I see my granddaughter likes the tree. Sharon, we'll go over your prediction later in the show when we do ours. But I like your prediction. I hope it comes true. Okay. I'll just tell a little story here about when we used to go to do a food show when I was managing the grocery store to Omaha. I think it was like the second or third week in September every year. and we'd stay at a hotel near downtown, old downtown, I guess it is, with all the. I'm sure that Jason knows what I'm talking about, the old downtown type area. Anyway,
it's the old
but
market.
but there'd always be food, not a food, what do you call it, farmers market in the some of the parking. Yeah, some in the parking lots there, So we on our way home after we get done with it on a Saturday, we'd stroll through the parking lots. You could not be in that farmer's market without every single vendor having the radio on, tuned to Husker football.
Well,
every single one.
Yeah, not only that, it's every grocery store in town. Like everywhere you go, the football game's on. Even when they're getting their butt kicked.
Yeah. But I thought to myself, these guys are diehards. They really are.
No, they do. They do love their Husker football.
Yeah.
Well, don't they have like a 35-year sellout going or something?
Yeah,
that's like their lone claim.
If you look at the seats, there's a lot of people in the bathroom.
A lot of people bought tickets who didn't show up.
If they keep up this pace, they're gonna catch their bowl drought is gonna be the streak that lasts longer than their attendance record.
Well, they already got the longest bowl streak in the country, if I remember right.
Yeah, they're at 6, 7.
They were tied with somebody, and that team made a bowl this year. I can't remember who it is. It was a smaller school, maybe Tulane, something like that. One of those schools.
I feel like Nebraska's lost to Tulane recently too.
Excuse me, guys.
Who knows?
All right. Let's just. I have concerns against Nebraska. I mean, I feel like we're going to beat them, but I don't think it's going to be easy because I think watching Wisconsin win that game proved that Nebraska is not got any quitting on them this year. They're going to fight till the end, especially since it's Iowa. This is their last game of the season, and they want to go out in a blaze of glory and take home that trophy. And so there's going to be no quitting these guys. So, Jason, your concerns, any concerns at all? Anything we got a weakness against there that?
Zero. This game is going to be just like Purdue, just like Northwestern. Iowa's going to win 27-10. And I only give him that touchdown because you never know what Parker will do, right? Sometimes he does. If we have a lead, will play back, right? Or sometimes he doesn't adjust right away and he lets him go down the field and he gives up a touchdown. Now, that hasn't happened for like the whole winning streak, right? I don't remember Iowa giving up points on the first drive through this 4-game winning streak. So, no, it's not going to – I mean, Caleb is going to have a big-time game. Nebraska's not going to stop Iowa's rushing attack. And if they do, Petrus has been playing well. Receivers are going to be wide open. Nebraska can't play defense. The Wisconsin game is just because Wisconsin's players are not going full bore until, it's the fourth quarter. We better start playing now. I mean, come on. I mean, look what happened once Wisconsin started playing. They came back in the fourth quarter. They were losing 14-3, right? Their quarterback is terrible. Like, we talk about Petrus. Graham Mertz at Wisconsin he was the reason Wisconsin wasn't winning. He Graham Mertz the game for a while until so no, I mean it's at Kinnick, it's senior day. I have zero issues. The defensive line for Nebraska is actually worse than Northwestern's. Northwestern's D line actually has a player that's going to get drafted in number 99. I can't pronounce his name. Kind of like Padilla. I struggle with names, but so no, I don't think this. And if they do put 9 guys in the box, 8 guys in the box, that will open up the passing game. And Luke Shea is going to be there for it. Breck has been coming on like he's ready now, right? He's been getting more reps. He had a couple third down catches last week. I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm so pumped up for this game. I'm ready to get to the Big Ten championship is what I'm ready for. I'm a fan. I'm not a player, so I can say that. If Iowa comes out and plays Iowa ball, which I have no control over, and if they don't think like me, if they think like you, Dean, then yeah, of course. But as a fan, as a football guy, as a person who's been watching, I'm back to doing my gambling thing like full time now with my health issues. So I've been watching 70 hours a week of football, and I've watched every Husker game. It's going to be just like, I could see Caden going for 2 bills.
Okay. All right. Honestly, I would love to hear. I would love to see that. It's Caleb, not Caden.
I said Caleb the first time, and then the second time I said Caden. It's Caleb or Caden. I can't control it. Remember? 2 minutes ago I said Caleb. 2 minutes ago I said Caleb, and then I ended it with Caden.
Okay, so you've seen the Wisconsin versus the Nebraska. Tell me why Wisconsin struggled in the run game, which that should have been their strongest suit against Nebraska.
They did.
Is Nebraska struggles stopping the run, or
no?
Not Nebraska. Are they good at stopping the run? Is what I meant.
No, Wisconsin ran the ball all over them. They had 2 running backs at 100 yards, and both of them averaged over 5 yards a carry. It wasn't the running game. What it was the OC trying not to play Iowa ball, right?
Oh, okay.
Everybody complains about Iowa running the football. Well, if Wisconsin would have just kept pounding it in the Paul Chryst days, that game's not even close. When your running backs are averaging 5 yards a pop, your top 2 running backs, and you still keep trying to have Graham Mertz do something, no, it's not going to work. If Graham Mertz wasn't so terrible, that game wouldn't have been close. If the offensive coordinator would have kept running the football, that game would have been close. So
what we have is a similar situation with Minnesota running the ball all over us, but they didn't win the game.
What? What?
It's a similar situation to where Minnesota ran the ball all over us, but they didn't win the game because they couldn't score any points. Right? Is that it?
Oh, yes. I wasn't with you on that one. So you're talking about Wisconsin, comparing Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Like my brain doesn't always follow quick enough. So. But yeah, no, you're right.
Here's my take on this. Human nature is what it is, right? Nebraska, they just don't have a lot to play for in this game. There's no bowl game on the line for them. There's no Big Ten West Championship game on the line for them. There's no, they have pride and a trophy nobody cares about except for Iowa and Nebraska, right? Like this isn't, Floyd of Rosedale. This isn't the old Oak and Bucket, right? Nope. So you could pull a 1,000 random people and ask them what's the name of the Iowa-Nebraska series trophy. They probably, most of them couldn't tell you.
I thought it was the Heroes Trophy, but they were calling it the Corn Belt all day on Facebook.
So yeah,
unless they changed the trophy to something called the Corn Belt.
Pretty sure it is. And see, that's the thing, right? It's such an unknown thing. People are just calling it whatever they want. So long story short. That Nebraska will come in, I think, maybe a little fired up with the idea of, hey, here's our opportunity to shut these guys up. They've beat our ass the last 6 years, and that'll play for a while, for a short while. They're on the road, but I think that as soon as Iowa, if they, again, that double-digit lead we always talk about, and then let the defense go to work, I think they'll wilt like a flower, and Nebraska will. And the next thing you know, I think the game ends something to the tune of like 34-6, and it's just a matter of, I think. Casey Thompson probably makes a mistake here or there. I think we end up getting a couple of turnovers, a couple quick fields, short fields, easy scores. The game really just kind of gets out of hand. Even though I think Nebraska isn't playing terrible football for most of the game, but the score will. I do think Iowa heads in with a lot of confidence into a Big Ten championship game, thinking, hey, we are a better team than we were 6 or 8 weeks ago when we played whoever we're going to play for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. I can't wait till after we win this game so that I can come on here on our follow-up broadcast and say, ha, 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 all you naysayers who said they couldn't go 5-0. You know?
Hey, I just noticed Jared picked 28-10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He picked pretty much what you did.
yeah, except for I see 2 field goals and not 4 touchdowns. That's about the only thing. 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals is kind of where I looked at it. But that's a good pick. Hey, back on Wisconsin, just so you know about the rushing attack. Actually, they had 3 running backs average 5 yards a carry, and they averaged as a team 4.5 yards a carry. Graham Mertz was 8 for 18, 83 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. 8 for 18 passing when you're running backs. 3 running backs. One of them with 98 yards, another one with 92 yards, and another one with 42. And that was why they were losing. They kept trying to win the Heisman for Graham Mertz instead of just pounding away, doing Wisconsin football.
Except for the very first outing that Graham Mertz ever had. He's not proved to be. I think he's trying to live up to that very first outing he ever had.
Yeah, I thought I was smart because I had him as a 4-star. I was like, dang, and they had him as a 5-star, like the professionals. So I was like, and then I saw that, I'm like, oh, dang, maybe I'm wrong. Well, it turns out I was actually wrong the other way.
I want to address Jared's comment here about Nebraska fans don't see Iowa as their rival. Maybe they shouldn't, right? They need to find a rival more on their level, like Rutgers or,
Colorado,
Iowa State, the Colorado School of Mines, Boise State Central Community College, Iowa Western Community College. Those are the teams maybe Nebraska needs to be looking at for rivalry because they're more on their level.
For real. I mean, I was listening to a Nebraska podcast just yesterday, and their biggest concern is now, which I found interesting, is the prestige of the school. Because they used to be able to use that for recruiting purposes, and you have to at Nebraska.
Right.
No one's going to want to just come to Nebraska, right? You have to really sell players in Lincoln, Nebraska, kind of like Iowa City. So and now they're starting to really worry about the prestige, which they were a 5-star prestige, right? But the last 20 years, they've just kind of, I mean,
why don't you got your phone on silence or something, and it's just like humming?
Oh yeah, I'm getting a call. But,
okay. All right. I just thought, what's going on here? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You could stop that call, Paul. I didn't hear it, just so you know. But no, I was just the podcast was really interesting. Granted, they still think it was they have our Nebraska winning. One guy had Nebraska winning 13-10. The other one had Nebraska winning 19-6. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't. They're talking about how bad Iowa's offense is, which is.
I'm sorry, fellas. I got to step away for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't understand that thought because if you just go off the last 4 weeks, Nebraska can't go off of Iowa's offense for the season because Nebraska is not Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're trying to use the whole season when realistically they should go off the last 4 weeks because that's who Nebraska is. Nebraska basically is worse than Northwestern on defense. Nebraska is worse. Nebraska's worse than all of them. Nebraska's the worst defense in the Big Ten. So,
well,
say that
I was gonna say you posted something on Facebook overnight or early this morning showing that Iowa's offense, when you adjust it for maybe the last several games and maybe I think it was last and short yardage situations, that Iowa's offense actually ranked 64th in the nation instead.
Yeah. When you do the short yardage, yeah, they adjusted Iowa's offense because that's what Kirk wants, right? This is what fans don't understand. I mean, some fans would rather be Tennessee, and win 65-60 and lose 52-49. Right? It's I don't get that flaw. I don't get it. But when you do what Kirk really wants to do, and that's what they've been doing, is when you get short fields, you score, right? And Iowa ranks 60th in the country in scoring when they have short fields, and that's touchdowns. Last week, they were 3 for 3 in the red zone. The week before that against Wisconsin, they were 2 for 2 in the red zone, right? When they got the ball in the red zone, they scored touchdowns last week. So, or I should say 2 weeks ago against Wisconsin, however you want to say it. I'm still in the Minnesota week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so against Wisconsin, they're 5 for 5 scoring. 5 for 5. The last 2 games scoring in the red zone. That's the most important. And they've scored field goals behind the red zone, right? I think he kicked a 50-yarder, 47-yarder. So that's what Kirk really wants. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care to have a high-flying offense. He just wants to win games. And guess what? That's what he's been doing. You can't knock him. So,
Jason, I have a question about, can we continue to run the strategy that we want to run, right? While mixing some tempo in here and there, right? And I'm not talking about the third and a foot, get to the line and just QB sneak it. But can we not stay within our offense? But we hit a play for 8 yards on first down. Well, let's get right back up there and just run the same play again, right? Like, try to kind of wear some of these teams down a little bit just by. Is that something that is just so far outside of our stated goals that we just wouldn't want to do that?
They could, and I wish they would do. But what they would have to do, in my opinion, is when you get that first down, right? Because then it's not a 3 and out. You're not throwing your defense back out on the field right away. You're getting that first down. Then you can get your mojo going, right? So right after you get that first down, the first down of the drive, then you can line up and do your no huddle. And actually, Petras is better in the no huddle.
Yeah.
He's better when he's not thinking, right? Or I should say he's better when he gets to the line of scrimmage and can actually have time to see the defense, to look at it. So I'm with you. I've been calling for this kind of, like a sugar huddle. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but would be like a sugar huddle where you don't do the traditional, huddle together. You just kind of huddle from afar. And like if you're the wide receiver on the left side, you come down to just to kind of get the signals, and then you go out to your spot or wherever. No, I'm with you on that. And it's possible. And I think they would do a lot better if they did it more. I wouldn't do it until you got that initial first down, though, just because you don't want to just do no huddle 3 plays and punt it away. So you want to get a little momentum on the drive. Doing an Iowa scheme. I'm not talking about anybody else's scheme, but in my opinion, with Iowa's scheme, I think they would benefit greatly by going to the no huddle more often after they get that initial first down. Because last week, I think even against Minnesota, they had 2 3 and outs, I think, out of 8 drives, right? So they could have been doing exactly what you said. Okay, we got a first down lined up. Let's go. And I feel like Iowa's offense would be so much better if they would just mix it in, right? Instead of taking the clock down. And they're still doing it, and I don't get it. They'd still take the clock down to 10 seconds before everybody gets lined up, right? That's not going to give you time to read a dang defense sometimes.
Not only that, but it allows the defense to kind of tee off at the snap, right? Because now, you're taking the play clock down. You get down to 2-1 seconds on the play clock. The ball's going to get snapped.
Yeah. It's easier. Yeah, it's much easier because they're not going on 2.
Right.
Regardless, the play clock's down under 10 seconds, they're not going on 2. They're going to go on 1. So you just listen for the first sound. And this is where the predictability, I think we had this discussion a few weeks ago when Dean was driving me nuts with the predictability thing. The predictability is what you're seeing when it looks like the defense knows the play is the snap count. That's the predictability, like what Paul just said. They know when the clock is under 10, they're not going on 2. So the defense is going on first down, right? And sometimes they just beat the offensive line to it because of our delayed snaps. So all of this plays into it. It's not just the offensive coordinator, like people want to say. All of this goes into our plays.
Well, Friday has to be a kitchen sink game, right? I mean, whatever wrinkles, anything we haven't shown to this point, I feel like that, you can't leave anything on the practice field, on Friday. If the goal is, hey, we want to get to Indianapolis, we want to, be repeat West champions, what is there anything that, you would say? I wouldn't take anything off the table, right?
Well, it depends on how the game goes. If the game goes the way I think it's going to go, where I think Iowa's just going to run it down their throat, then save it for the championship game, right? Save your plays that you haven't called for the championship game. Because I think with Iowa's defense, I don't think Nebraska's going to score. I do give them that leeway with either Iowa's up 27-3 type of thing, and then Parker just plays soft and gives up that last second touchdown like he did against Northwestern. Iowa had it in the bag. All the backups were in, and Northwestern went down. I think they scored on the very last play of the game, if I remember right. So other than that, I don't see Nebraska scoring. The offensive line is worse than Iowa's. This is what makes me love Casey Thompson, though, and he's going to play, is how good Casey Thompson has been getting the crap kicked out of him. And he hasn't – I don't think – did they play Michigan? Yeah, they played Michigan. I don't remember how that game went.
That game was in the Big House in Michigan. I think it was like 30-3 maybe. It was not close.
So, I mean, that's what I would expect if they played Michigan, and that's what I expect from Iowa. I mean, I could see it being 27-3. I just throw the 27-10 because of that. You just never know about that touchdown, right? I pretty much give the other team 10 points against Iowa all the time because Iowa. It sounds funny.
Give up one field goal.
They won't do this at the quarterback position, but on defense they literally let all the backups play. Right? Mm-hmm. They bring in everybody like against Northwestern. There wasn't a starter on the field on that last drive when Northwestern went down and scored. But by golly, Peters played the whole game.
Right.
So, it's just, I mean, there's that too. That bothers me. But let me just say this, because this has been, like I said, I'm back full speed ahead, spending a lot of time with my gambling again, trying to get back to perfection, where last week I was 2-1.
By the way, folks, if you have an addiction, if you have an issue with gambling, there is 800 numbers for that. Jason doesn't have that problem, but if you do, we don't recommend gambling. Yeah, go ahead.
Trying to take away my money. You're messing with my money.
No.
I'm just kidding. There is a 1-800-BETS off.
That's it. Bets off. There you go.
Yeah, it's 1-800-BETS off. I don't have that issue. Like, I'm strict with my gambling, and it's because I'm married. Who knows what happens?
Can I tell you guys something? As long as we're talking about betting, the KXNO shows out of Des Moines, they've got 4 local shows, and I hate it when they choose one day a week and all they talk about is the gambling part of it, the betting part of it, and everything, and basically they're giving these guys freebies, and then the guys are going, now go sign up for my website, and I'm going to give you my one guarantee. One guarantee.
Well, that's why I ignored the Vegas. I've been talked to by these people. These people they come at me on Twitter. They want me to join. They ask me, they ask me all these questions or tell me, but that's what they sound like. I'm not that guy.
I know that.
I'm not
we know that. I thought you've been very low key about it actually all year about it, and so
Well, yeah. Then this is also my. I mean, it's probably why I'm not making as much money as I could, but I'm doing fine. But if I was a salesman, I could probably get more people to sign up. But my only line I use that I don't have that energy when it comes to like gambling, like sales. I don't have that kind of energy anymore. My energy now is football related game time. But I can't do that. So my only pitch I have for gambling is, do you want to make money or not? Right.
Right.
So that's my pitch. If you want to make money, we can make money together. Other than that, I'm not gonna.
Okay, guys, I got a couple of Petrus questions. Let's move on. The first one, Jared wants to know if Petrus could run the option or not, or no. What do you guys think? You guys are more experts in this than I am. I have no idea.
Do you want to go, Paul, or do you want me to?
I mean, this is. Could Petrus also play wide receiver? Could he be a starting safety for us?
You need a Greek smart water for this question.
Could Petrus just call his own plays in the huddle? No.
Was that Jared?
Yes, that was Jared.
Okay. This is what I will say.
Jared, are you spiking the eggnog?
Jared, you can come on camera if you want to. I got a link right at the very top for you.
You ain't gonna want to after asking that question. But no, I'm just having fun with you, Jared. If you really
want to see Brian Ferentz out of here, yes, then let's have Spencer running the option.
There is something that he could do because he does have a little mobility this year. Would be to run the speed option, which I don't see him because he can't read a defense. Like he's had so many times where. Not so many because they haven't done it a lot, but he's supposed to read the defensive end, and he still doesn't give it to Bruce. Like they have that play where Bruce is in the backfield, and Bruce would be wide open, so he's still not being able to read it. But on a speed option, he could catch it and literally just run at the defensive end and pitch it to the running back, right? It would all depend on what the defensive end did. Now, if I'm the defensive end, I just take the running back and leave Petrus alone. Go get those 3 yards, buddy. But
I think Jared's just trying to get Spencer Petrus killed before his eligibility is up. That's what it is.
Okay, because there's talk of Petrus could come back next year for his COVID year. I don't know whether he'll take it or not. So maybe he wants Petrus out before he gets there.
He's already said he's not.
That's what I thought too. I thought he came out and said he was not.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he just did the other day too. He was taking in the senior day. He's bringing everybody in, for his end times at Iowa, right?
Right.
He could be the only quarterback to at Iowa to win back-to-back Big Ten West championships.
And then probably the most maligned quarterback in Iowa history.
One thing I wanted to do before this podcast, and I forgot, I blame Paul. Is I wanted to do the last 4 games. Apparently, Petrus' completion percentage is like 68% or something. Like somebody was talking about how just awesome he's been throwing the ball the last 4 games.
He has.
So that's huge. I mean, we obviously can see it, but when you see the actual percentage, completion percentage, knowing the drop passes that there's been, I mean, he's done his normal missing, but most quarterbacks are going to miss or complete. Like 68% would be an unbelievable stat for Iowa. That explains the 4-game winning streak as well as the defense, how they've been complementing each other.
And the thing with Spencer and statistics too, it's different for him when against other quarterbacks where they're running an air raid or they're running different hurry up tempo offenses.
Oh yeah.
Every pass, completed or not, is magnified, right? So I mean, a completed pass in our offense is worth 2 or 3 completed passes in other offenses. A drop is magnified. It's as if it's 2 or 3 drops or a misfired passes. Because when you do throw the ball, 18 to 20 times a game. Now you go look at what the other quarterbacks, whether it's in the Big Ten or you talk about the Tennessee offense, and they're throwing the ball 55, 60 times. So, I mean, it's like, I think we're at times too hard on Spencer because we've put a lot of pressure on him to be good in the few opportunities he's getting because of our style of offense.
I mean, that's 100%. To me, just as a quarterback guy, I get annoyed by the wide open receivers he had in the beginning of the year that he was missing. And he's hitting them now, regardless. But no, that's 100% because like those teams like Tennessee are going to run 100 plays a game. I was going to run 60. That's just huge. And those drop passes and bad throws, however you want to say it, takes away a first down that would add to those plays, right? And then we're putting it away. And then our defense, if they don't get like last week, we're sitting here blaming the offense for a lot, but our defense couldn't get off the field. And you can't say they were tired because in the first half, they had a lot of rest. Iowa's offense was on the field much of the game, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they only had 2 3-and-outs, but Iowa could not get 1 3-and-out, the defense, right? So, I mean, it's going both ways. Last week was a 100% a team victory, and last 3 weeks.
Just to show you, just to show you how much Minnesota possessed the ball in the fourth quarter. Iowa only got off 10 plays in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I did not realize that until I saw somebody had written that, and I go, oh.
And I think like 4 or 5 of them came on that last possession after the interception.
Oh, definitely. Almost half of them right there.
Lachey, and then it took 2 or 3 to get in. I mean, that's 4 of the 10.
Yeah. That's just what some fans. But I do want to say this. I was wanting to start this podcast with this real quick, if I may.
You may.
Look at the coaching staff. All our fans are just nuttier than a fruitcake when it comes to wanting to get rid of Kirk, right? Look at the culture. Look at the interviews by X and everybody that was talking about the culture at Iowa. Look how they turned the season around, okay? Now let's switch it to what's happening at West Virginia right now. They have players that are wanting to transfer. They already have one of their stars transferring. They have kids that quit the football team. They just fired their coach because of all of this, right? Because the kids run the show. If all of a sudden the kids just say, you know what, I'm going to transfer. I'm done. I don't want to finish this season, right? Then it's over. But the culture of Iowa football, it's a family atmosphere. And you could see that it's a family atmosphere because they all care about each other. Mm-hmm. So, and they look how they turned the season around. They could have done the same thing. They were 3-4. West Virginia was in the same boat. They were like 3-4. They might have been 4-3, in the beginning of the year. And look what's happened because of the coaches. If you're all about yourself, which kind of like Dean thinks Minnesota's head coach is, things like this happen. And this is why I absolutely love this coaching staff. I just wanted to put that out there that people just don't understand the culture of Iowa City and why players don't transfer out. And
let me read it. I was going to say, let me read a couple of things that will back that up. Xavier, how do you guys say his name? How do you say his last name?
Wampa. It's Wampa.
Wampa? Okay. Says he's happy here, loves the culture. On Caden Proctor, he tells him, take the visits. You only get this opportunity once. Go ahead, do what you can. But I told him, but home is always there. Telling him, boy, go do what you got to do, but you're coming here.
I swear to God, that echoes exactly what we said here on our show after he took that visit to Oregon. And we said, I even made that post on Facebook as well on our page. Hey, you only get to be a recruit once. You only get to be a 5-star. Everybody wants you. Roll out the red carpet everywhere you go once in your life. Go do it. But at the end of the day, you're coming home to daddy.
Yeah. Well, the fact that we haven't heard anything yet leads me to believe that he's coming. He's staying home. Okay. Lucas Van Ness, D-line upset about the rushing D versus Minnesota. They're ready to change that, and I believe they will. They didn't like getting pushed around. Okay, also for the NFL draft, he says, I haven't even looked into that yet. I think it's a decision that will have to be made and looked at after the season. But I love this program. I love it here, and I have no interest in leaving. Boom. Boom.
I mean, that tells you the culture, right?
Yeah,
and,
right.
Merriweather is saying the same thing. You know, he's one of the leaders. I think he is leaving. Like, he's going to try to go pro. But he's saying the same thing about the culture. The reason X loves it, too, he's roommates with Merriweather. And Merriweather is teaching him, you know, you're going to be taking over the position next year, right? Type of stuff. So, and what I wanted to finish with what I was saying about, like, people want to bring up Charlie Jones. He's the only one that's transferred and been highly successful. He also went to play with his buddy, right? Well, he transferred to go play with a childhood friend. He also came here from Buffalo, right? It wasn't like he started his career at Iowa.
Right, correct.
Buffalo. So I don't even count that as anything real because he went to go play with everybody. If you had an opportunity, you'd probably go play with your childhood friend, especially as a receiver quarterback combo, right? So
he probably doesn't qualify as once a Hawkeye, always a Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't start as a Hawkeye. So, and I guarantee you, Tracy's regretting his decision. I guarantee it.
When he decided to transfer to Purdue, you know, there was no way to predict that Keegan Johnson, you know, basically wasn't going to play for the year and Vines would get hurt. I mean, as much as he is a focal point for Purdue's offense, he would be right up there in a very similar situation as being a main target in our passing game. It'd be him and Bruce out there, right? You know, so
no,
right. I don't think he made a bad choice by any stretch, and he's definitely a more polished, better known wide receiver prospect because he transferred to Purdue. But I don't hold anything against, and he's never come out publicly, as far as I know, and said anything negative towards his time in Iowa City. And you could tell, you know, after the game, there was a lot of guys that they went and talked to him. I mean, I have nothing against Charlie, and I wish him well. And you know, if and when he plays on Sundays, I would root for his success.
I mean, I think we'd be Iowa State if he came back just with his return game alone.
Right.
We could have been set up in field goal range because of his return in the kicks. So he's proven he can return kicks at Iowa. Now he's proven he could be a receiver at Purdue, right?
Right.
So
I don't know how he'll do in the NFL combines and stuff like that, but that's up to him. I hope it works out for him because that's the reason why he went. You know,
he's got a lot of work to do on his route running. Like TJ Hall showed him that. I love that. I love that highlight.
But I'm glad to see Cooper DeJean finally starting to do a little bit in the return game. He could be dangerous once he gets more comfortable back there.
He's averaging 18 yards a punt.
He's already dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I want him to be more fearless like Charlie. Charlie didn't care where he got the ball. Charlie was already in his mind getting the ball and running.
That's because Charlie wasn't a starter.
That's true.
Cooper won't be like that as far as punt return because he's got to play defense.
That's true. That's true.
If you kick it to him, he's going to go get the ball and return it, but he's not going to run up and try to stop a ball or take a chance at, getting himself hurt or even fumbling the ball away so the possession, goes the other way. So
I know the last couple of weeks that, they've let the ball bounce and roll about 20 yards.
It drives me nuts. I wish they would have two guys back there.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely bonkers. With how hard yards are by our offense, that doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know why you can't at least fair catch it closer up.
Well,
it hits the 40-yard line and rolls down to the 15.
Yeah, sometimes you can't get there as a returner because the ball it's too low or it's too short, so you don't want to run up and take a chance. But if you have two guys back there, one guy's shorter who can go get it, that would be my adjustment by Woods. That's only my own complaint.
I'm fine with having the single guy back there in kind of like normal, decent weather conditions. But what Iowa's been playing in the last few weeks with the wind, just a lot of heavy wind. And it's hard enough to be the lone wolf back there, recovering the punt or catching the punt. Now you get back, the wind's whipping, the ball's moving, it's knuckling all over. I can show some grace there, but like you said, Jason, it's okay to stick a second guy back there and say, hey, look, we're not interested in returning punts today. Let's just make sure that we don't give up the extra 30 yards in a row. Because that's 3 first downs that the Iowa offense, that's hidden yardage right there.
Heck yeah. I mean, because that's if there was one of them that hit at midfield and rolled down to the 35, maybe 30. And I'm like, if he catches that, 1.5 first downs puts us in field goal range, right? So that's just.
Or even on a 3 and out, now we're talking about pinning them back and forcing them to go, 90 plus yards against our defense.
Right. That too.
So he's talking about the weather, Paul. Does anybody? Well, probably the weather's similar to what it is in Omaha. But what's the weather supposed to be Saturday?
Friday.
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 I think I heard it's supposed to be in the mid 40s, like 47 ish.
Okay.
I don't know about wind. It's always a little bit windy at Kinnick, right? But
it's not going to be bad at all, though. It's going to be nice.
45 degrees warmer than it was in Minnesota. So there's that.
Okay, so Des Moines today is currently at 47 degrees with a high of 53 today. Dang, Des Moines warmer than Bakersfield is right now. I tried to move back to the Midwest.
You guys are calling for the heat wave there late November, 40s, 50 degrees.
Yeah. It's supposed to be nice Friday. I'm excited for it. That's another reason I think in good conditions, Iowa smashes Nebraska. So that's where I kind of see this. So
maybe we'll get some refs to actually call some holding.
Well, yeah, that's a part of the running game. I kind of want to, after rewatching that game twice and hearing some of the players and stuff talk about that, they can't bring up, they just smile. When you see players smile at questions, you know what they're really thinking.
Right.
Right. So, and I'm thinking Jack Campbell was held so many times in the hole, right? So a lot of those yards were on holding calls. I think Minnesota probably figured out, you know what? They're not calling penalties. Let's, don't make it obvious, but hold them inside. I mean, Jack had him in the hole one time, and all of a sudden the guy grabs him from the waist and just pulled him. And I was like, oh, dang. I mean, that was the ultimate hold, right? He grabbed him and just kind of spun him around. So that was, those rush yards, a big part of it.
Yeah.
A lot of Minnesota's blocks were worth 2 points on the mat, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You just rewatch it, you'll see it all over the place.
Well, Kirk
held. So I'm disregarding that Minnesota running game.
Yeah.
He would have got his 100 because on that one where Moss missed him in the backfield, perfect call by Parker. But Moss was coming around like he was going to rush the quarterback and not even worried about the running back. They weren't throwing it, Moss. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
So, but either way, most of those 263 weren't real.
Well, Kirk was asked about that no penalties thing yesterday, and he said he didn't know too much about it. He said it looked like on film that there might have been some holding and stuff. But he said that when he got home, Mary had a long list of holding calls for him to deal with.
There was. Mary was probably right on most of it, or all of them. If you rewatch it, it wasn't good. It was a bad look for the refs. But like I said, the one ref looked like frostbite on his face. So I understand. Go get a face mask.
Let's get to our picks, fellas.
Okay. All right. I've got 8 picks today. I thought we'd go out in style.
All right.
Okay.
It is championship week.
It is.
Hell yeah.
Nebraska at Iowa. Iowa, of course.
Yeah.
Paul, Jason. Okay.
Going to
Iowa each, right? Baby. I don't think it's anything different. Yeah. You guys want to put your score out there? We already got 27-10 for Jason. Paul.
I'm taking the Hawks. I'm gonna take them.
Didn't you already say your score? Like 30?
Yeah, I'm gonna amend it a little bit. I'm gonna go 24-6. But the game's not as close as that. But 24-6. But that's an Iowa blowout.
It really is, right?
Yeah.
This score's 24-6.
I'm gonna take 20-9.
I like that.
Okay. All right, guys. The big game in the Big Ten: Michigan versus at Ohio State. I took Ohio State. I would want Michigan to win this game, but I'm taking Ohio State.
I'm taking Michigan because I'm gonna root my ass off for Michigan. So
okay.
I'm gonna take Ohio State. I don't know how healthy Blake Corum is right now, and we saw what their offense is without him. He is the straw that stirs the drink there on the Michigan offense. So, and I know Michigan's defense is good, but they're not going to be able to keep up with scoring wise with Ohio State if they're not at full strength. So,
okay,
I'm hoping my karma pushes Michigan over the edge.
Okay. All right. So I picked an interesting game.
I hate to breaking news. I got an interview next Thursday and in person. So
cool. Nice. One of the ones you already did on the phone?
Yeah. Round 2.
Cool. That's great.
Yes.
Good job, buddy. Good job. Okay. We got Illinois at Northwestern. My question here is I picked this game because after Illinois losing the last couple of weeks, could they actually be down and out, or you think they'll bounce back against Northwestern?
What time is their game?
I think it matters.
Look it up.
Paul, you go ahead with your.
I feel like Northwestern is everybody's slump buster, right? You know, I mean, she's the girl at the bar at 2 a.m., you know, that's still there. You know, everybody takes her home. I'll take Illinois in this one.
All right. I took Illinois too. But one of the reasons that intrigued me about this game is because Illinois is not used to winning, and after riding high up until about 2 weeks ago, or is it 3 weeks now? Is it 3 losses in a row now? I can't remember. I think it's
Illinois has
Michigan and Purdue only right now.
It's 3 in a row for Illinois, but I'm taking Illinois. They play at the exact same time as Purdue, so it doesn't matter. I would have said if Purdue won and Illinois didn't have anything to play for, then you never know. Mm-hmm. But because if Illinois wins and Purdue and Iowa lose, Illinois is in the championship.
Right.
And outside of that, Illinois, I still think has something to play for. I think they are trying to maybe jockey for some bowl position. They could be in line for an Outback Bowl or a Florida Bowl, a better destination. And they haven't exactly, done a ton of bowling lately. So,
honestly, I did take Illinois. I mean, I just thought there might be a little slump, but especially if Iowa wins the game on Friday, any chance that they have of winning the Big Ten would be out the door.
Yeah. Well, also look at what happened as they lost to Michigan at Michigan, right? Illinois is a good team. And I think they're still very, very invested in their season, even if West is up.
They probably the only team that gave Michigan everything they can handle this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Baylor at Texas.
Ooh. The Fighting Doyles.
Right.
I'm going with Texas.
I also took Texas.
All right, I'm going lone wolf here. Give me Baylor. This is how I get into trouble with these things. But
or this week, championship week, this is how you come back.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Right. A lot could go on. Paul, this one's especially for you. I picked it just for you. Florida at Florida State. I know you want to watch that game.
Yeah, Florida State's like a 9.5-point favorite. Florida just got beat by Vanderbilt. I don't know what to think here, guys, to be totally honest. I mean, this game and it's a rivalry game like Iowa State, where when these two teams get together, like just about anything can happen. I don't like that Florida. I think Florida State wins, but I think Florida covers the spread. I think the game it's not a 9.5-point game.
Okay.
I got Florida State too. There's something going on in Florida.
Right.
The players really don't want to be there, it looks like. It feels to me another West Virginia situation. And another reason I love Iowa's coaching staff.
Yeah, it just seems like Florida hasn't been relevant for years.
Yeah. Well, you know what's going on with the Gators, and I say this because I'm here. They recruit nationally, and I think there's some danger in that. And Nebraska falls into the same category where they're in. That works great if you're winning, right? Everybody now, but when things start to when adversity starts to hit, and all of a sudden you're playing for the name on the back of the jersey instead of the name on the front of the jersey. I mean, that's what makes Iowa a little bit different, and how I think our culture can be so good sometimes is because, you know, most of our roster is our Iowa guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've dreamed and desired, and they'd have given their left kidney to play Hawkeye football. And, you know, sometimes you get into these situations where, hey, I just wanted to be an hour from the beach.
Right.
Right. The girls on my recruiting trip were pretty hot, you know, like, I mean, like, that stuff doesn't matter when you're getting your face kicked in.
Right.
So
okay, now I got Oregon at Oregon State. Paul, go back. You just finished, but go ahead and pick your pick.
Mighty Ducks, baby.
That's
Black,
Oregon, right? Oregon? Oregon.
Give me the Beavers.
You got Oregon State, as do I.
We all want Beavers, okay? But
Oh. Don't get us kicked off.
Why? They build nice sports.
right.
Okay. All right, I got two more.
You know what I really enjoy watching is Oregon State women's basketball, the Lady Beavers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Notre Dame at USC. I took USC.
Paul?
Trojans, you know. I was just I couldn't come up with anything funny. I was gonna link it back to the Beavers, but you know.
Well,
Yeah.
the Trojans, yeah.
I'm going with the Trojans too.
Okay. All right,
I
final
can't
game,
believe
and I don't know where this game is taking place. So if you guys know, help me out. Minnesota and Wisconsin.
It's Minnesota's the home team.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because
No, Wisconsin might be actually. Let me look. Killing me, Petey. Wisconsin's favored by 3.
They are? Okay.
It's at Wisconsin. So basically, the Vegas think it's a pick 'em.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking Minnesota, guys. I look for a bounce back from Minnesota this week. It could be the ball never gets thrown by either quarterback. You very easily could just run the ball both ways. Would that be something really weird if the quarterbacks didn't throw a ball?
That could be an hour-and-a-half game.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm thinking hard on this one, and I'm going to take Minnesota for the road upset. But it's that's a tough one.
It is. That's why I threw it in at the last minute.
I'm gonna take Minnesota as well.
Okay.
Even though
you don't think we beat up Mo too bad when they ran him 39 times, do you?
He's done it 4 games this year.
That's true. I forgot.
Yeah. The week before that, he went 36 times for whatever.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay.
I'm just Graham Mertz is just the worst quarterback in the Big Ten. It's not even close. He doesn't look like he wants to be there as well. Like there's just something. There's something to the story about Braylon Allen transferring out, right? He's not running hard. He's not running like he used to. Last week wasn't the normal for him this year. Last week was because there was holes for him to run through. Like he didn't run hard. Nebraska just can't stop the run. So
maybe we could get Braylon Allen to transfer to Iowa.
That's what I was talking about that on Twitter with some peeps. To have Caleb and Braylon Allen,
that'd be awesome. 100-yard days by both of them every game. And Joey Labas wouldn't have to throw the ball that much.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm ready.
Yeah. Speaking of when I said Joey LaBosse, also that's a reference to that Padilla will probably be gone next year. Do you guys honestly think that he's transferring out at the end of the season?
Now I was told this by a friend because I don't know much about medical school. I mean, look at me. You can probably tell. But I thought he could come back because of education purposes. He's not going to come back for football. Right. But I was told that medical school is actually hard to get in, even when you get your diploma or whatever. Then you got to apply. Then you got to apply again. So if he doesn't get into med school at Iowa, he may have to go wherever he gets in. For Padilla, it's truly about education, and then football is second, right? Which is why he's literally taking classes instead of watching film, right? He's trying to do.
How much film would you watch if you couldn't even get in at the end of the Northwestern game? I mean,
well, there's also rumors that that's why.
No.
Who knows if that's true? But the football coaches would be angry if he's truly missing film, too, because you're getting paid, you're getting free school because of football.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is a integrity thing to it. I think he's gone unless he gets into med school at Iowa. If I could just that's the way my opinion is.
Okay.
He's not going to be in the top 3 regardless. Marco's going to be 2, and LaBosse will be 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's
right. Unless we go after a real quarterback in the
real quarterback. What the hell do you mean? LaBosse is a real quarterback.
No, I know he is, but I mean one that's
Marco
got gaming.
Is a real.
I'm talking about a COVID year guy taking his last COVID year who had success at great schools, and then he just wants to come and say Iowa. I'm going to help Iowa win some games this year.
Yeah, but he's got to learn the offense, right?
That's true.
The huge reason, why Marco will be number 2 is because he's got to learn the offense.
Is Marco coming at the semester break, or is he waiting till June?
He's coming in January.
Okay. I'll be here for spring. Spring. Yeah. He's springing into action.
LaBosse doesn't know this yet, but Marco's about to become the new favorite quarterback on the Iowa team.
Hey,
I hope so.
Everybody loves the backup, man.
Yeah, but they're going to love him when he starts too. Trust me. He's going to be better than Big Nate, my favorite quarterback. He's my new Nate. Like, I was excited with Nate. Marco is my new Nate. Like, I have him as a 5-star. The only reason that he's not, like, he went down a grade, they had him as a 4-star, all the pro sites, but Marco wouldn't do all the camps they wanted him to do, right? So then they just dropped him down to a 3-star. He just wants to work with Rassiopi. So
yeah. I don't have a problem with 3 stars. 3 stars is good as 4 in my book.
Oh yeah, It's all evaluation. I mean, you really don't know.
You don't know anything. Even Kirk mentioned that you really don't know until you get him in, and you get him in a game and see what they do in games. He says sometimes practice doesn't match games, and vice versa. And then he said,
"Go ahead." No.
Yeah. Then he's also talking about what they're like in the community, what they're like as a person, what they're like as a student. He says sometimes it's just a gamble. He said you think you're getting somebody great, and then you find out that they just didn't hold up their end of the bargain, weren't a good person, and stuff.
I wouldn't go that far. Marco's going to hold all that up. Marco's a good kid.
I believe Marco will. I believe he will. He sounds like the type of person that will.
What you see in quarterbacks, though, is the anticipation, right? So, and with Marco, he doesn't have Petrus arm strength, right? Well, he doesn't need it because he can see the open window early. So that's why I love Marco so much, is because he's accurate. He 90% of the time he hits his receiver, and if Iowa has him with those wide open receivers, Marco's going to get him the ball, right? So that's just and he's going to see those open windows before they're even open. So he doesn't need to have a cannon. Like, he's not going to drop a 75-yard bomb like Petrus did. You remember that in the Manning Academy? That's just that Marco's not going to do that. But he'll throw it 60, and he's going to be accurate with it all the way down the field, mid-range at every level. So, yeah, I'm going to be so excited. I can't wait. I'm going to Iowa's practice when I'm going to Kids Day. I'm going to be a kid that day.
Nothing wrong with going. I used to go to was it 3 years in a row they did in West Des Moines at Valley Stadium. I went there.
Yeah.
And watched. I went and watched. There were some pretty cold practice days, but we went and watched.
It's worth it though.
Take my grandson. 1 year I took 2 years in a row I took one grandson. The last year we went with I took both grandsons, and we had to leave early because the younger grandson was only 7 or 8 at the time, and he just couldn't handle being there any longer. He wanted out.
Right.
And then we couldn't get in and take a picture with Herky.
I missed all these comments by Jared.
Yeah.
South Dakota State could beat Nebraska. Yeah.
I had that up, but we weren't talking that way at the time, and so I didn't bring it up.
Oh, you had it up?
I had it up. I had every one of his ones up.
I was talking.
Yeah, and then one of the things he wanted to know was how many teams could South Dakota State beat in the Big Ten?
Probably 4.
That's what I thought.
I mean, they could beat Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could beat Indiana,
Nebraska,
Northwestern. Those would be my 4 that I'd pick that they could beat, and they probably would beat them. If being honest, I mean,
you don't happen to know if South Dakota beat North Dakota State when they met up, do you?
Yes, they did. They came back and won. North Dakota State had the lead for 55 minutes, and South Dakota State got them in the end.
Cool. So South Dakota State goes into the playoffs as the number 1 seed?
I don't know if they're the number 1 seed. I'll have to look at that because there's other good teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who they. I believe they just had their playoff show. I'm not sure now that
I saw the chart yesterday, but in my eyes it's so small I couldn't read it, and I tried to blow it up, and I couldn't really blow it up to see who was what.
So
the only thing I could tell was that I didn't see a UNI logo on there, so I lost interest right away.
Yeah, UNI wouldn't make it this year. But and who would Nebraska's head coach be? Trev Alberts is pulling a Kirk Ferentz. He's trolling all the fans. He knows everything, and he's just letting the speculation just go all over the place. Nobody knows a darn thing about who the next coach is going to be.
Yeah, right. I mean, why would you even want to before the season's over anyway?
Right.
We might start hearing something within the next week or two, but
after Friday, we'll probably start hearing some stuff next week because they do have to hire a coach soon. Mm-hmm. Signing day is December 3rd. Right?
Yeah, so right.
And they're going to have to keep recruiting, so then they have their second signing day. So they're going to have to get one soon.
No, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that. So they may have somebody in their pocket already. They're just waiting for the season to end to officially announce it.
Yeah.
It's probably somebody who needs to finish the season first.
It might be. Yeah. Because they're going to throw some money at it.
Yeah. I think Wisconsin has their coach, unless they're not happy with the way Wisconsin's finishing their season. But what's his name? I forget his name again.
I can't remember. But I think if he gets buried by Minnesota, it might not happen. But I think you're right. I think a part of the reason they got rid of Paul Chris because they didn't want him to leave. So,
you think there might have been a little conflict going on between the two?
I think so.
Yeah. Still trying to figure out how that happened, but
I haven't heard anything. I'm just going with my opinion. That's not. It felt weird when they did it. So.
Let's end on this little tidbit that the athletic director, or maybe it was the president of Nebraska, said that they weren't chasing Minnesota, Iowa, or Wisconsin. They were chasing Ohio State. So, that's the problem with the West. Everybody's chasing Wisconsin. What do you think of that comment?
I remember it. It was the most ignorant thing I've ever read. I mean, it was one of the most ignorant statements. It reminded me of, the athletic director before the last one. Can't remember his name. The one that started the downfall of Nebraska sports, where he said,
I have to evaluate where Nebraska's program is compared to Iowa's or something.
he was just basically putting down, we're not Iowa. We're not mediocre or some crap like that.
Yeah, and he fired Bo Pelini that week. And Bo Pelini beat us. He beat us! I think he finished 9-3 that year or something like that.
Yeah, they fired him. He beat us, and they haven't beat us since. So,
well, they did beat us once since then, haven't they?
No. Pelini was the last coach to beat us in 2014.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was a comeback. Iowa had to lead the whole game.
Yeah, I think we'd be like 9 in a row right now or something like that.
It should be. Yeah, I mean, it would be 9 in a row if they didn't lose in 2014.
Right. And they had a big lead in that game. Okay.
Yeah, 2 punt returns. The special teams for Iowa failed them.
Yeah. Special teams have gotten better since then. Kirk's saying, no more of that. No. All right, guys. Our next show, Monday, we'll talk about this, and we'll talk about hopefully a little bit about which team we're playing, Nebraska Michigan or Ohio State for the Big Ten. Hopefully, we're talking about a Big West title. Big West.
Yeah. We will be, and we'll be talking about a victory over Clemson in basketball too.
I'm looking forward to our Big Ten championship game preview show.
Yeah.
Yes.
This show ran too long, but I did have on my agenda to talk about the game the other night and a little bit about Tony Perkins, but I guess that's for another day.
Yeah, you let me talk too long. You gotta shut me up. You guys shut me up if you want to talk about more topics.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Especially you guys, man. It's been such a fun football season doing this, twice a week with you guys.
I agree.
Yeah, I know this is going to sound a little cheesy, but with Thanksgiving being tomorrow, I'm really thankful to have this opportunity to get to do these videos with the two of you, and we've got a pretty nice little bond, and I love having you in the chat. And Terry, I'm thankful for you as well. So we're thankful for what you do for us to help us be able to do these videos.
Yeah, I appreciate both of you guys. I am thankful. Once we started doing the three of us, and with Terry's help, we kind of legitimized this thing from my solo videos, and viewership has gone up. Subscriptions have gone up, and so you guys have really helped me legitimize this show, and I appreciate both of you, and I hope we can continue it through the basketball and wrestling season.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm just going to ditto all that because I'm going to start crying. That was my heart was getting a little sad there for a second.
Yeah. Well, I know when Paul and I started talking on the group chat about wanting to do this, and you asked if you could join in, and I said, my first thought was why not? You probably got the most knowledge of the three of us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And speaking of that knowledge, at some point we will get a whiteboard. We will. That will be part of one of these broadcasts. We promise.
I could always do one, maybe not the whiteboard, but the TV. Like I can literally get my set up by my big screen. I can use my man cave big screen and not the upstairs one. I can use my man cave big screen, and I could just show you some plays. Like you've seen my videos where I do that stuff, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I could do something like that. Possibly.
We're expecting you to.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk about that off air, fellas.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. See you after the bowl victory and Big Ten West title.
Bowl
Hi,
victory.
Terry.
Not a bowl victory. I'm losing it. I'm out of here.